Hey everybody, and welcome to the Jersey Comic Group Podcast. We bring in the news and reviews of your favorite comics, movies, and TV shows. This week we have DC Fandom, and as always, your hosts are Rob Moran, and with me is...
Chris Heller. How's it going, everybody? It is DC Fandom After Hours, the post show sponsored by my T-shirt, and we
that
are
guy right there,
and the Joker over there, over there. And yeah, it was a lot. It was awesome. It was so much news, Rob.
Yeah, bro, I was there. I mean, by there, I meant...
You were in the dome? You were in there?
I may or may not have been in the dome. I may or may not be one of the Suicide Squad because there's 1,000 people in it.
Yeah, there's like 53 of them, with most of them I have no idea who the hell they are. And
dude, thank you. Because I was like, I'm a comic book guy. I've been reading these people for a while. I don't know.
I'm a comic book guy. I should know
90% of these people. But Chris, for the channel and for the show, you soldiered on and watched the whole event. I was working, unfortunately, but you were watching the whole event, posting news. I know a lot of our fans are very thankful. People have reached out to me personally, said, dropped so much news. It was great to catch up on everything.
Sweet. Did it for you guys.
How was this, watching this event, the first DC Fandom all digital, like compared to like DC Comic Con, San Diego Comic Con at home? And then after that, we're going to obviously break down all the news and the big moments for you guys, because there's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, it was awesome. I went into it kind of not knowing what to expect. I was hoping it kind of wasn't like the San Diego Comic Con, where Comic Con's very messy, right? Because there's all these different avenues of fandom. It's not just comics, movies, TV. There's, all this different stuff. But when you focus on a specific brand like DC and Warner Brothers, you know exactly what you get.
Yeah.
I thought it was brilliant that they let the schedule out early so you could plan ahead of what you wanted to watch and all that stuff. I do gotta say,
that was smart. It felt organized. It was like, all right, I know like these couple things I definitely want to see right away. Or at least not, if I'm not watching, pay attention to my social media. That I thought was cool, because like while I was working, I couldn't really get to watch this event, unfortunately. But I know at certain times, like at 1:25 p.m., I have it right here in the script. I don't remember that, but having it right there, I'm like, oh, I know to check my social media feed around 1:30 or check news to see what just happened, and it kept me informed without actually being there watching the whole event. So I thought that was very smooth.
Yeah, it was an awesome event that exceeded my expectations. Like, basically DC just took over the internet yesterday.
Yeah.
And it wasn't like as easy to get to as always with DC for some reason. There was no like YouTube live channel or Twitch live channel. Originally I have a Samsung phone and TV. I was going to stream it, like do the share view, but then I was like, I can't, because I got to post everything that comes out on Instagram. So I ended up going old school and doing the HDMI hookup from the laptop to the TV, going on the website and streaming it through there so I could have my phone free.
Okay.
So after all the like hardware stuff of like, wait, there's no YouTube channel, there's no Twitch channel, like what the hell are we doing here?
Which would be smart, but I think them having it to their own channel, a website, generates more revenue, because like you're going right to them.
Yeah.
But
it was very well done. I'm happy that mostly, if not almost all of the panels were pre-recorded, so there wasn't that really awkward Zoom moments where people are talking over each other, or not awkward silences. It kept the ball rolling really well, and it was like somewhat edited. The green screens behind them looked awesome. The dome looked awesome. The different, like, there's Jim Lee artwork throughout this whole thing. It was basically like a Jim Lee-a-thon, which was awesome.
That's great.
They did really well, and honestly exceed expectations. And DC fans, like you and myself, especially with the comics, should be really, really excited about what's happening right now with them and kind of the focus that they're realigning.
Why, Chris? Why should we be very excited? Well, as someone who doesn't know.
As someone with a peculiar question. With all the trailers, hitter after hitter, all the way from like starting off with Wonder Woman down through Batman, which was worth the wait in spades.
In gold. But all right, so you brought up Wonder Woman. Let's just jump right into the content that they
Let's
released.
do it.
So Wonder Woman, short trailer, didn't really show us a lot of new stuff, but we did want to talk about it because we did get our first look at Cheetah.
Yes.
And then we kind of get one of the subplots that Cheetah kind of like is going down this dark path, getting stronger, getting more powerful, and then we see Diana, Wonder Woman, obviously very concerned for Cheetah. She knows Cheetah's real identity and worried that she's going down this dark path. Now, I wasn't too crazy about this trailer because I was like, you know what, I'm not really crazy about this movie. I'm really keeping my expectations low here. But after looking at Cheetah, I kind of got a mixed bag of emotions. Like, I was excited. I was like, oh, cool, Cheetah. But also, like, it didn't look as clean as I wanted. But I don't know if that's just me and being over picky. And I wanted to see what you thought about it.
I think sometimes, I think, which is part of the trouble with the way they presented it, right? Because you're streaming it over a website, so I don't think the 1080p and 4K was as beautiful in some of the trailers, even though some of them looked amazing.
Yeah.
I was very excited to see Cheetah.
Okay.
I didn't think we were going to see Cheetah in her final form, basically, as Frieza would say. And I was actually very excited to see, because one, we've never seen that on screen.
True, we never have.
Never thought I'd see like Wonder Woman versus Cheetah live action, to be honest. And I like some of the stuff in the background. I like, it seems like, Maxwell Lord, who, if you don't know, has these kind of mind control powers.
We did see those powers.
Yeah, he used those powers, and like you see the big satellite in the beginning. It looks like that's what he's using, almost like to send out his mental signal to start controlling people. And he also uses this like resurrection stone thing, which is a lot of the rumor of how Steve Trevor comes back to life. Some people think it's a fake, like it's Maxwell Lord doing it, bringing him back to eventually break Diana. So that's interesting. But yeah, I thought Cheetah looked great. I thought, the movie still looked pretty much the same. I obviously still have tempered expectations like you. But I'm going to see it. Like, I think, and starting off the show with a big time character, your third pillar of the Trinity per se, was really awesome. The cast is really good. Some of the stuff, there's some more comedy in there. I'd like to see, obviously, I think you and I are hoping for a really good third act, which I think hopefully will be the case, because we kind of see Cheetah in the plane with Maxwell Lord. Hopefully they get into a little more of the Tarkaga, if I'm saying it right, which is the ancient god that turns Barbara into Cheetah. So
I'm sure we'll see all that. Let us know down in the comments below what you thought of the trailer. But moving on to one of the biggest pieces of news from the conference, or the fandom, whatever you want to call it.
The fandom!
WB Games Montreal released a trailer for the new Batman game they've been teasing, Gotham Knights. And now, guys, when I tell you, I, of all people, was super excited for this trailer. Like, as soon as it came out, Chris texted me. He's like, oh, I know you haven't watched the trailer yet, but you, of all people, are going to love it. It's because it centers around the Bat family, right? Mm-hmm. In this universe, Batman has died due to mysterious circumstances. And leaves,
due to unknown circumstances.
Yeah. And leaves pretty much the care of the city to his, I don't want to say followers, but his family. He leaves it to Nightwing. He leaves it to Batgirl, Barbara Gordon. He leaves it to Jason Todd. And then Tim Drake. I've been getting a lot of questions if that was Tim or if that's Damian. That's obviously Tim. Because the R and then the staff. So, and it looks good. The gameplay looks great. I mean, already with the game trailer and the, announcement trailer, the graphics look smoother than Avengers, which is coming out in a couple of days, which I thought that was a slap to their face. And the fighting styles, everybody seems to have their own different and unique fighting style, aside from just the regular bat on bat hit. Mm-hmm. And there's a gun, there's a grapple style. Nightwing's throwing around his things, making like a boomerang.
Like a whirlwind?
Yeah, like a tornado with his staffs.
It's like a Pidgeotto.
And then we see the main antagonist for this is going to be the Court of Owls. And Court of Owls are recent in comic book history. It only came out a couple years ago, like the secret society behind Gotham.
It's actually, not to show age, it's been 9 years. I know. Jaw drop. I know.
No, it has not.
Court of Owls is like 9 years old. 2011.
I'm that old? Oh,
2011.
Lord Jesus. All right, 9 years.
Is New 52. It's almost a decade old now. I know. It feels like it like came out 3 years ago.
Anyway, after you just ripped my heart
now
out.
that Rob's back into a depressed state.
The game looks beautiful. It's great. I can't wait for it. I'm going to play probably mostly. I don't even know who I'm going to play as. I want to play all of them. What did you think of this trailer? And do you have any theories upon, the story?
Oh, you know me. I'm
I
serious.
know you do.
You
I'm
know,
throwing you a bone.
you
Now
know what
grab it.
Yeah, so I really was excited when I went into DC Fandom. I was actually most excited for the video games, because we all kind of have this awkward history with the movies. So I was kind of more tempered with that. But I was like, oh, Rocksteady, W Montreal, let's go. Batman game, Suicide Squad game, I want to see all that. So I was hyped. I thought the trailer was awesome, the cinematic trailer.
Oh,
They always do the Batman cinematic trailers phenomenally.
How good did Bruce look talking
Oh, it
to
was amazing.
Damian? I'm
Amazing.
just like,
Amazing.
I'm losing my mind.
Oh, it was amazing. I thought seeing like the information, finding out Gordon's dead, like Commissioner Gordon's dead. Number one, I 100% don't think Batman's dead at all.
We were talking about this off air. I'm agreeing with you. I don't think he's dead. I think it's a training exercise. Like he's doing this to see if his kids could actually take over if he was to die. That's my theory.
I don't think it's a training exercise so far as I think it's he figured out finally about the Court of Owls running Gotham underground and behind the scenes, and he has infiltrated the court somehow. And for that to happen, Batman had to be dead. So I think, I don't think it's a 2021 game. One, it's going to be next gen, right?
It has to be.
It looked next gen. And two, I don't think there's any way in hell DC's like giving you the reins to a Batman game and you can't play as Batman.
I think you're going to be able to play
especially
Batman
next gen
at the end of the game, right? Like you play
I think halfway
all the
through.
Others. I think I can see that, but I'm hoping, let me rephrase that. I'm hoping it's towards the end, maybe the last two missions, because you don't want to have Batman to overshadow the obvious four main points of the game, right?
But he does anyway. It's Batman.
I get it, but like...
And I feel like a lot of players are going to play the game to get to the point where they're Batman. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be a lot of like, okay, when do I get to play as Batman? Like, what have they changed? What have they upgraded? Not to take anything away from the Bat family, but they're not Batman. And Gotham Knights, the title obviously seems more of like, you know, this family affair of all these different characters, which is awesome because the last time we saw them was at the end of Arkham Knight after he activates the Nightfall protocol and kind of destroys everything. Is this in the same universe? It is. It is in the same universe.
Oh, it's a continuation. I didn't know that. I didn't know it was a continuation of the Arkham games.
I'm pretty sure they confirmed it's in the same universe.
That's awesome.
Timeline wise, I don't know for sure.
Okay.
But like he activated the Nightfall protocol in Arkham Knight. We got DLC where you were able to play as Catwoman, Harley, and Batgirl. But playing as these characters is going to be awesome. But I think everyone in the back of their head is going to be like, all right, when do I get to play as Batman? Because he's obviously not dead.
Now, do you think there's going to be certain missions where you have to play as certain characters, or is it all optional?
Oh, yeah.
You can play the game as Red Hood the whole game if you want, or do you have to be like, at certain points you have to play as Barbara or Dick or Tim because they have different skill sets?
I think so. I think there'll be different things like, you know, hey, like this area is bolted and locked. Tim, you're the tiniest. Crawl through the vent and unlock it, and you have to go there. Or Barbara, you know, is more agile and you know, Dick is kind of like the powerhouse muscle and Jason just shoots first and asks questions later. Mm-hmm. So like I think they'll all have their different attributes. I think my one concern about the game was during the gameplay trailer.
Really?
Yeah, my one concern is like certain games, they, you know, if it's co-op or single player, certain things get lost in translation depending on which direction you go. And I think this game has to define, especially as a Batman game, and all the other games have been this kind of single player focused, story driven game where, hey, is this co-op? Is there different story aspects? Am I seeing points of view? Or am I like aiming all these characters towards this goal of finding out the court? And I think if you open it up to like, hey, if this is, you know, the map is open world, am I not going to follow the story as well? Or is the story going to be a little more scattered? Because me personally, it's a Batman story. It relates to comics. I'm way more in the fandom of linear storytelling when it comes to a game like this. Mm-hmm. And if it's like a shakeup, they better do it well and not take away from the story. Because that Court of Owls story, I mean, they did well in right. It looked creepy. It looked secretive. It looked dark.
I think like
So
you
we'll
said,
see.
my concern before we move on, like, was the whole multiplayer, not multiplayer, but multiple character aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And you brought up a interesting idea, which I like a lot. Like, maybe you play as each character from their perspective at the same time of doing something, and like you have to unlock X amount to complete the character. Like, oh, to get this character from here to here, you have to do their story from 0 to 100, and then the same thing. And then once everybody is at that point, then you unlock the final chapter or the third act, which you can play as any one of them or even Batman, like if it's that world. I like that aspect of trying to solve the puzzle from different aspects.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, oh, you play as Jason for like 20 minutes, and then you play as Dick, and then you have to be like, oh, I remember Jason did this, and that kind of helps you solve another piece of the puzzle. So each character sheds a different light on the puzzle because you're trying to figure it out. I think with the Court of Owls, not having it strong puzzle heavy and like mystery driven, like detective style, like the Batman is, would be a missed opportunity. And I don't think that they're going to do that. I think this game's going to be great. It's definitely on my buy list for whatever console I get it for PC. And I hope it's on yours. And we want to hear what you think of this crazy trailer down in the comments below. What did you think of Mr. Jax Freeze? Because he is jacked. What did you think of the 4 gameplay styles of these characters?
His gun was awesome with the turbine thing. And he like created an ice wall.
Dude, Mr. Freeze.
Awesome.
Underrated
One of the best.
character.
One of the best.
And out of the 4 playable characters that we know of, which one are you going to play as first if you have the option? Let us know.
Who are you playing as first?
I don't know.
Forget everyone else. I don't even know who you're going to play as.
I'm leaning towards Dick. I'm either Dick or believe it or not, Tim.
I'm all in on Batgirl from what I've seen.
Really? Batgirl's the number one?
In her gameplay, I think she's going to be the most balanced with the mix of like gadgets and actually fighting.
She's going to probably play like a very similar to Bruce.
But I'm also very interested to Jason because a game like this, we haven't like done a lot of guns. So that's going to, I feel like Jason's going to be the most different playable character.
I agree. Moving on, guys, another little piece of news that we want to talk about. They had the Flash panel here, which shows us the new Flash costume that we're going to see in the Flashpoint movie. And we got official confirmation that Ben Affleck will be coming back as Batman for this movie. Chris, this does seem like Flashpoint. It kind of feels like we got the confirmation of the theories we've been speculating. Any additional thoughts on this?
Yeah, I think my final question is this going to be a Flash movie or a Batman movie? Because there's so many Batman in it, which isn't a terrible thing.
I don't know, man.
It's like, what's next? Like, is Kevin Conroy going to be in it? Which would be awesome. Is someone like Val Kilmer going to show up?
And is this Ben Affleck passing the torch onto Pattinson? Like, you know what I mean? Like, they have so many different options.
So I don't think it is. I don't think Pattinson's going to be involved in this in any way. I'm not
saying in the movie. I'm talking about like in the DC.
Oh, in that way, yeah. I think in the overall, I agree with you. In the overall universe, like this would be the passing of the torch. I think this is a story you can't tell without using Affleck's Batman, though, right? Because it's about Flashpoint, which it seems like it's going to be. We haven't had confirmation yet, but it seems like the story's going to be that. Is going to be kind of like, hey, I need to go save my mom. And in doing that, he changes the timeline. And I think part of those changes is going to involve like Affleck's Bruce Wayne sacrificing himself in some way that when the timeline gets put back at the end of the movie,
Pattinson's the new Batman.
Pattinson's the younger new Batman,
I like that.
Maybe in a different universe. But Cavill, Gal Gadot, and all the rest of the characters are the same because he was able to make things right in a sense. But Batman, had to sacrifice himself, and it thus changed what he looked like and where he is.
Yeah, this is definitely one of the most important movies, in my perspective, coming up for DC, because this kind of like sets the tone of what happens next. Like, this is your fixer-upper movie. Like, after this, you have to have a consistent timeline, know who all your main characters is in one universe. You can't be playing with the multi-dimensions when you don't even have your core universe fixed. So I think that's going to be what's happening here. And
I hope so, because again, and like you said, hopefully this fixes everything that we've all had issues with the previous movies, right? And kind of lines things up. And like, it seems like with Fandom, DC is kind of taking this and saying, okay, we hear you. like, we're going for money with these flashy things, but we'll give a crap about the stories a little more.
Exactly.
So hopefully this kind of retcons easily what's been done in the past.
So speaking of what's been done in the past, the Suicide Squad movie we just got is having a new one. It's a soft reboot. We kind of see a little panel that shows us all the characters and all the names. It's kind of like a roll call list.
I think I'm in it. I didn't even know I was in it.
Yeah, I thought I saw
I think I'm in
Comic
it.
Crew there. I don't know, man. Everybody's in this. I love the fact that I saw John Cena, Idris Elba, like every star is in this. Sean Gunn is in this. Michael Rooker, on like all these B, C, D, E, F, G characters that I have no idea who they are.
Yeah.
But I think, like obviously, I'm excited for this movie. I'm really looking forward to this. I think it's gonna be a crazy fun movie.
Mm-hmm.
The character I'm most excited to see is King Shark.
King Shark looks awesome because he looks like very happy and like gentle almost like the Harley Quinn cartoon version.
Yes, like I think King Shark is making a resurgence in this world. Like I love those kind of big characters like him and Killer Croc. I think they're a lot of fun and you can do crazy cool stuff with. And to see Killer Shark in this, I'm hoping that he sticks around in the squad. He doesn't die off. Who is your most anticipated character out of seeing all these people?
Honestly, there's two, and one of them is a rumor. But the first one, I really am excited to see John Cena as Peacemaker because it just makes sense. He's basically Peacemaker's like this douchey Captain America that is peace at all costs, including bullets through the head.
Yeah, he's like a Judge Dredd Captain America hybrid.
Yeah, and I think it's perfect for Cena because he just like even his costume looks like it was like made at Party City. Yes. So like that's very funny to me. Like he's wearing like a shirt that's painted on. Yeah. That's awesome, and also like Weasel looks hilarious. Sean Gunn.
That looks so weird. I love
it. Looks ridiculously like all the crazy kind of ridiculousness is what I love about Suicide Squad. Like Harley's obviously there, and Rick Flag and all those characters, but I think
Polka Dot Man is probably going to be really fun.
Polka Dot Man's going to be great. That's like the eccentric weird stuff, and obviously everyone just getting like there's going to be so many deaths.
That has to be right.
But the secret character. So the rumor that. Obviously, we saw like a behind the scenes trailer of the making of, and they're saying it's kind of like the 70s style action flick, which I love, right up my alley. But they have to be fighting somebody, right? Like Task Force X has to be out there for a reason. And that rumor is Starro, which I think is awesome if that's the case.
Oh my god, I love Starro. For those of you who don't know who Starro is, he's one of the first Justice League main villains.
The first.
Is he the first? He's
the first ever Justice League Brave and the Bold villain.
So, what he is, he's a giant starfish with an eye in the middle of him, and he can mind control people, telekinetic, like he can do everything with his mind. He's from outer space, and he wants to take over the world. We've seen him in recent comic books where he made multiple versions of himself, stick on the face and mind control people like a hive mind. Yes. I think that's going to be great because you could easily have Starro take control of some of the Suicide Squad members.
Like imagine King Shark under Starro's control.
Oh my god.
Just eating people?
Just killing them. And then,
like what?
Perfect. Look, he kills a couple of the Suicide Squad members, a couple of regular people. Then they get it off him, and he's like, guys, I'm sorry. And then Hardy's like, it's okay, big guy, and hugs him. Like, I want that scene. That scene would be fantastic.
But then, like, chops a fin off.
Oh, I don't know about that. Hopefully
not. Like, it's gonna be nuts. Like, if Starro's the villain, which would be right up James Gunn's alley, and honestly, like, James Gunn is really the perfect person to make this movie.
You could do so many things. And, like, you could even have Starro, like, you don't have to worry about using him in every scene because you could have starfish on people and not see it and then do their own thing. Like it's a
and like the shirt rips and you see it like attached to them or something, or like it's like they're pant leg and it's attached to the leg.
I just thought of it. What if Starro's controlling Amanda Waller, who then controls the Suicide Squad?
Oh, that'd be amazing.
And to make him do his bidding, and they have to. Oh my god, this movie could be so great.
But yeah,
I really have my high hopes now.
And you got to go watch the behind the scenes again because there's a shot where James Gunn is talking. He's like saying a director's chair, and it looks like there's a giant Starro eye behind him. So Twitter kind of went nuts yesterday with the Starro stuff, and I'm totally behind it if that's the case. Love Starro, and check out Justice League for Jarro, who is like basically like the son of Batman right now.
It's
amazing.
great. Just think Jaro, he has like a little Robin outfit on, and he's
So great.
It's great. Moving on, guys, we got some more surprises at the DC Comic Con panel. We have the Milestone Comics are returning. We're getting a Static Shock comic coming back and an animated series. So I'm very excited. I love Static Shock growing up. I thought it was great. I loved how he interacted with the Justice League in a couple crossovers. I thought it was cool with the electricity power controlling metal and stuff.
Awesome.
But Chris, for those of our fans at home who might not know what the Milestone Comics are, why don't you do a quick breakdown of who they are and why they're important?
Sure. Milestone is basically Black Image. It is Black comic creators that took a sect of DC and said, we want to make Black superheroes, and almost kind of have it be like a Vertigo or an Image Comics and have their creator-owned stuff in their own area. And that birthed Static Shock and Hardware, Icon, and Rocket. And as you know, Static Shock was a huge cartoon in the 90s. I love Static Shock. To me, Static Shock was always, before Miles Morales, the Black version of Spider-Man.
Because
like hands down was like Black Spider-Man, because he was a teenage kid going to high school, just dealt with the other side of life.
He was really good.
It was an awesome show. The comic was great, dealt with real world things. And to bring back Milestone to DC, which is genius for Jim Lee and them, especially in this time.
Yes.
But to have, like, they're talking about doing a static live action movie, original graphic novels, more comics coming out, as I pop my headphones out of my face. But like having that and guys who invented Milestone, like Dennis Cowan, coming back to draw and be creatives in this is, I think, really awesome. And releasing it in February, there's going to be a lot more news, so it's awesome.
I'm really excited to have the Milestone characters come back, because there's a lot of cool ones that a lot of people don't know about.
Icon is an alien. People don't realize he's an alien from outer space.
Yes. My concern is that a lot of companies, including DC, bring these titles back and they don't put enough support behind them, and then they end up falling by the wayside. And I think with a brand as culturally important as as Milestone Comics, like, you can't afford that in today's climate. So I just hope that they are taking this as seriously as we would want to have everybody come back. I think it's going to end up down the road, whether it's a year from now, a couple years from now, only focused on Static and that family, which I'm not necessarily opposed, because I love those characters. I just want to make sure that they put enough effort behind all the other characters. And for them to do that, people need to go out and buy the books. So make sure to buy these books when these come out, to support Black creators and Black superheroes.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%, Rob. Any book that wants to thrive, you got to put the talent. I think the talent's there because it's the original guys who were doing this. But I agree, you got to put the backing and the marketing. But I think they are, because this was the secret panel during DC Fandom. Like, most people are like, oh, it's going to be a movie or an extra video game or a TV show announcement on HBO Max or something like that. And this was the secret panel. And I think they are, like, by proving that, I think that's they're behind it. They're backing it. Jim Lee's all in. So I think it's going to be a really good step going forward. So,
guys, moving on to one of our biggest pieces of news from DC Fandom. We got a new trailer of DC's Snyder Cut Justice League that's coming out HBO Max 2021. It's confirmed it's going to be a 4-part series, 1 hour each, and then also released as a 4-hour movie. Now, guys, this trailer, as I'm sure all of you have watched, has shown and released so much extra footage that was cut from this movie. To me, this feels like a whole different movie. This felt like a sequel. This feels like a different thing. Like, I can't believe what we got came from this movie. Like, I'm seeing Darkside. I'm seeing Iris West. I'm seeing Cyborg's father gets blown up. Flash is in some kind of other place. Like, we're seeing all this cool stuff. And, like, for me, this makes me more excited to see this movie. And I'm sure a lot of you feel that way as well. But, Chris, you were the one that was a little bit more apprehensive out of the two of us when we knew we were getting the Snyder Cut. Like I know you said it wasn't necessarily, just let it die, just move on. After seeing all this new footage, what is your stance as somebody, as the more skeptic person?
Yeah, no, I'm definitely on the side now of optimistically curious. I am very interested to see all this new stuff because now my question is, okay, Josh Whedon and Jeff Johns and DC, did you just cut like 90% of the movie out and redo it? Like, if Snyder had, if this is one, you're 4 hours. It's a 4-hour movie. If Snyder had 4 hours worth of movie that he himself was obviously going to eventually cut down to probably a 2.5-hour film, why didn't we get at least more of that in the original film? I think that's a fair question to ask. And I think, yeah, I'm very excited to see, obviously, throw Darkside's name anywhere. I want to see that.
The only thing I could think of is maybe that this 4 hours was supposed to have a little bit more shooting, and this was supposed to be 2 movies.
Maybe
I could think that would be Snyder's original thought.
Maybe.
And I think DC, they cut and only showed us the first half of that movie, thinking that they were going to get to make another one because Justice League was going to sell, and they realized that they just shot themselves in the foot.
Yeah, maybe, and you could be correct, Rob, because initially when their time slate came out, Justice League was in part 1 and 2, and then that kind of went away. So that could be the case 100%. But yeah, like, to me, I'm like, well, like, first of all, the trailer's phenomenal.
Dude.
Like, if the movie's still bad, I'd rather just watch the trailer because the trailer's so good. The music's great. Like, you throw in, like, that Shrek Hallelujah anywhere, it's going to be phenomenal.
I love how everybody thinks of Hallelujah as the Shrek song.
It is the Shrek song.
I mean, it is, and I'm with you. But apparently it was out before that movie, which I had no idea.
It was. But this version of the Hallelujah was phenomenal. And some of the things that I was yelling and griping about the original Justice League movie so hard, you're seeing in this, like, I'm like, why are we not seeing the Victor Stone origin, like the real one, and the heartbreaking origin story of Cyborg? And
which
clearly,
you saw in
like,
the trailer.
Clearly in the trailer, we're going to see it. We see him playing football.
Mm-hmm.
We see kind of like, it looks like him, like, just like being awoken into the cyborg body, like kind of getting used to it.
Yes.
Like stuff like that. And Snyder said that he is the heart of this film. I think that could really be the case because we didn't get, like, Cyborg in the original cut is very minimal and very, like,
he just has that one scene in the apartment. Really, I mean, when you think about it, it's the scene in the apartment where he's kind of like, "Oh, my father did this," and then other than that, he's been obsolete in the rest of the film.
Yeah, but the relationship with him and Silas Stone is very integral to him becoming Cyborg. I still think the Cyborg CGI is pretty bad.
I think that's something that we can't get around at this point.
That's like live with
it.
But it seems also like there's a shot where it looks like Steppenwolf's behind Cyborg, and Silas Stone basically kills himself to save his son and tries to destroy the mother box.
Yes.
So that's going to be very heart-wrenching. It looks like, one, we get a shot of Iris West.
Fantastic.
Where you get a little more Flash kind of background because they kind of just throw Flash in and it's like, hey, he's here.
And we see Flash at a school somewhere. Like, it looks like they're fleshing out these newer characters, which they should have done. Like, we saw Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman. Like, these people we know. Aquaman, he's getting his own movie, so we technically didn't have to flesh him out as much. But we saw Mera, like, he threw his trident on the floor. Was it like he tried to quit before? Like, all this stuff that, like...
Oh, there's a great shot where he's backing into, like, a waterfall.
Oh, that was great.
That was so sick.
He still had the sexy scene of him ripping off the shirt at the pier.
Of course. That's when, by the way, perfect timing, that's when the choir of the Hallelujah comes into the chorus.
Yes, it did.
And I'm like, of course it's when Momoa's naked. Of course it is. Because all the girls' like eyes just start crying.
Yeah, just the girls.
And mine.
Just the girls.
But yeah, just so much. But like it's a phenomenal trailer. It almost looks like even Darkside in the beginning is not even like Lord Darkside yet. He doesn't have his helmet.
Yeah, he looks like he's trying to get to that status,
Omega
right?
beam cracked. He looks like which his original name is like Uxus or Uxus.
Uxus sounds right.
And he's got this like staff like world breaker. So That's going to be awesome. There's also talks about how Steppenwolf looks different. We got a shot of what looked like Darkside, which is like Darkseid's right hand in the comic books, which was a character I was really waiting for in that movie. And you guys got to remember, as much as like we all love Marvel, we love Thanos, we love that. Darkseid was first.
He's the OG.
Is the OG. It's a Jack Kirby creation, the Fourth World, the gods. And so I'm very interested to see that. Again, I don't know. I
want to know. Do you think the movie's going to be good?
I don't know. I honestly don't know.
Yes. That's my vote.
I think it's going to be better.
Okay.
I think it's going to be a lot better because we're going to get a lot more questions. And obviously with 4 hours worth of content, you're going to be able to flush out basically like TV show miniseries wise certain character development.
Which might be the direction they have to go. Like if you tell me, you know what, from now on movies, we're going to do it. It's going to be in 4 parts, 4 hours. You know, and then once a week you're going to have to come pay the $20. I guess you got more money from me. Better content, sure.
Please fix Flash's running.
Oh, he
for God's sake.
He does look funny.
And
it doesn't bother
number
me
two,
as much as it bothers you, though.
Oh, it bothers me so much. And number two, it looked like he was in the Speed Force at some point.
Is that what that was? Where it looked like the whole area and like was like an explosion and stuff?
I think so. Okay. It looked like he was in the Speed Force. Also, Black Suit Superman is the sexiest thing I've ever seen in my life.
Don't let Momo hear you.
Yeah, right. But no, like it's like all of this stuff. Like I'm very excited to see it fleshed out. I don't know if I'm gonna watch it as the 1 hour intervals. I think I'm gonna watch it as the 4 hour all together the way it's supposed to be.
I don't know if it's gonna be that big of a difference.
But I think it is. I think it's almost like I feel like the feel of it's gonna be different, right? Where it's like reading a comic with like in paper or reading it digitally.
I think it's more like reading a comic week by week versus reading the whole story arc at once.
That too.
Yeah.
Honestly, that actually makes more sense.
I know.
But like, I know. Yeah. Stroke yourself a little harder. I think though, I think personally, I'm gonna watch it as one entire content.
Okay.
So it like I don't have to break the flow. But we'll probably go back as the hours to like, you know, obviously pick apart, analyze.
I think I'm going to watch hour by hour and then end up binging all of it at once, but just watch it at the hour break.
Do we know if it's coming out first as hourly or if it's coming out at the same time?
I don't know yet. I don't think that was made a reveal yet. We might be wrong, but I don't know.
But yeah, what do you think? I mean, I'm on the side of I'm very optimistic with that trailer. Obviously, the music helped a lot.
I'm hyped.
Which is why I couldn't take that freaking video down on Instagram because they flagged it. But I'm on the optimistic side. I'm on the like. This is to me. It's obviously going to be better than. I keep doing that. I got to stop being so Italian and talk with my hand. It's obviously going to be better than what we got, right? Because it seems like it was bare bones stripped of like throw this out. We're just like taking parts out of the car kind of thing. I really hope it's solid enough to say we can put this to rest. Here it is. Like.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I think it's going to be great. I
hope we get Green Lantern too, because there was no Green Lantern in Fandom.
I think maybe we get a teaser of Green Lantern in the movie. I think there's a reason we didn't see any Green Lantern in Fandom. But
there's a rumor that there's no Green Lantern, but we see like rings because there's like a war.
That's what.
I think that's what we saw with Darkseid and Euxis. But yeah, I'm really interested to see the story elements that we didn't see in the movie. Like the Mother Box.
I just want to see Darkseid fight the Justice League.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what we all want, right?
That's what I care about.
And I want to see, like, I was kind of hoping Black Suit Superman would come back with the long mullet hair.
Maybe he has that first thing that cuts it.
And he does the laser beam cut.
Yeah,
thing.
he's like.
But yeah, no, I'm very optimistic. I hope it's good. It's definitely going to be at least better, which is always a plus. And obviously, when that hits, we will be talking about it.
Yes, guys, we're definitely gonna be talking about it every second of every minute when it comes out. I'm really hyped. Chris is optimistic. What are your thoughts, guys? Let us know down in the comments below if you're hyped for the Snyder Cut, if you're excited to see more fleshed out characters of Cyborg, Flash, Aquaman, and the rest of the Justice League. And do you think that this is gonna spark further Zack Snyder films?
Hey everybody, thank you so much for watching part 1 of our DC Fandom breakdown. make sure you stick around for part 2. We'll discuss the Batman, Suicide Squad, Kill the Justice League, the rest of DC Fandom in part 2.